Hi guys, we are going to move on to PL1, which is all about rates, and I am hoping that you watched the video that I posted the link to about rates, kind of gave an example of what we're going to be doing. And when I talk about rates, I really mean like figuring out like miles per hour, how many miles you traveled per hour, or how much, there's $6 for 32 ounces. Okay, so like sometimes when I go to Costco, I'll figure out which is the better deal because it'll say, oh, $13.99 for 8 ounces. Well, is that better? Is that a better deal than something else? And so this is kind of a really great real life skill that you could really use in real life. Okay, so let's get going. So if we look at number 1, it says an athlete trains for 12 hours in 4 days. So the rate of that is 12 hours in 4 days. Okay, looks familiar, right? It's a fraction, has a numerator, has a denominator. All right, so a ratio that has 2 different units of measurement, that's what's called a rate. So in this problem, he trains for 12 hours in 4 days. So equivalent rates are rates that can be written as equivalent fractions. So to find the number of hours that particular athlete will train in 20 days, we have to find an equivalent rate for 12 hours in 4 days. So you guys have really already done a lot of this back work because you know how to reduce fractions. So basically, that's what it is, okay? Or to find an equivalent fraction. So if I had to find an equivalent fraction, so do you see how it's lined up 4 days and 20 days? 4 days and 20 days are both the denominator. That's really important to remember, okay? You can't have 20 days up here because the numerator is telling me my hours, okay? So it has to be the same. So how am I going to get from 4 days to 20 days? What am I going to do? Well, I can't divide because then my answer would be smaller. So I'm going to multiply. Well, 4 times what is 20? 5. And just like the rule of finding equivalent fractions or reducing fractions, what you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So 12 times 5 is 60. Almost said 30. Yikes. Okay. So for number 2, the athlete trains 60 hours in 20 days. Okay. So this is what's called solving a rate. All right. So the rate is equivalent to 12 hours in 4 days to 60 hours in 20 days. So let's do number 3. So unit rates are rates like with a denominator of 1. So what number should be the denominator if 4, okay, 12 hours to 4 days, and I want to find out how many hours he trains in just 1 day, okay? So to find the unit rate for the number of hours the athlete trains in just 1 day, we're going to divide both the numerator and the denominator, okay? Because I'm going from large to small, okay? So when I go from a larger number to a smaller number, I'm going to divide. When I go from a smaller number to a larger number, I'm going to multiply. Okay? So what would I have to divide 4 by to get 1? 4. I have to do what I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So I'm changing my quantity by 1 because 4/4 is really 1. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. So for 1 day, he trains 3 hours. So if you can remember that when you go from large to small, you divide. When you are finding the equivalent fraction from small to large, you multiply. Okay? Let me see if I can. We are going to do build the concept because this is a really good example. So in this build the concept, it kind of shows you visual here for you to see. So it says Sam needs to buy sugar. Which bag of sugar should Sam buy to get the better buy or the lowest cost per pound? So this was the example that I told you about. That's really great to know. Like if you're at Costco or if you're grocery shopping and you're at Kroger and you need to know what is the better buy. Okay. Because sometimes the more expensive item is a better deal because you might get like twice as much or 3 times as much. All right. So remember, a rate is a ratio that has 2 different units of measurement. So an equivalent rate is a rate that can be written as an equivalent ratio or an equivalent fraction. Think of it that way. All right. A unit rate is a rate with a denominator of 1. So how many dollars per pound? So we're going to find the unit rate of each bag of sugar to determine which one is the better buy. All right. So the first bag of sugar costs $6 for 2 pounds of sugar. Okay. The second bag of sugar costs $8 for 4 pounds of sugar. So that ratio is 8-4. So I have 6-2 and 8-4. I want to know which one is the better buy. So we're going to find the better buy. We're going to find the cost per pound first. Okay, so I'm going from large to small. So I'm going to divide. So if I had to divide by a quantity of 1, 2 is what I'm going to divide by because 2 can go into both 2 and 6. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So for this bag, it's $3 per pound of sugar. All right. For bag number 2, again, I'm going from large to small. So I'm going to divide. So 4 is my quantity of 1 that I'm going to divide the bottom and the top by. When I say quantity of 1, you guys, I mean this. Like, because this is really, I'm going to make a 1 here. 4/4 is really 1. That's what I mean when I say that. Okay, so 8 divided by 4 is what? 2. So bag number 2 is $2 for 1 pound. Okay, so which bag should Sam buy? Which one? Which one's the better deal? Well, I would say bag 2 is the better deal. Okay, because it's $1 more per pound for bag number 1. All right, and plus you get a little bit more. So if I was at Costco and I was buying sugar, I would buy Sam's. All right. So I'm going to say number 2. Or you could put Sam should buy number 2 or whatever. Oh, it already does that. So forget that. Okay. All right. So we're going to go and we're going to turn the page. All right. And I'm going to do these with you. Okay. So let's look at number 4. It says complete each number sentence to write the equivalent ratio. All right. So what is the numerator in number 4? The numerator is 9. Okay. So this is like solving problems. How many minutes does it take you to solve some problems? All right. So This says that I can solve 9 problems in 10 minutes. Wow, that's a lot. That's a pretty lofty goal, okay? So I want to know how long it will take me to solve 18 problems in how many minutes. Well, I don't know. But if you look up here, I am going from smaller to a larger quantity. Well, in order for me to get from a smaller quantity to a larger quantity, I have to multiply. So how am I going to get from 9 to 18? Well, I'm going to multiply 9 by 2 because 9 times 2 is 18. What I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. My quantity of 1 rule. And what's 10 times 2? 20. So I can solve 18 problems in 20 minutes. Okay? I'm hoping that really clarified some things for you guys. All right, number 5. Let's see what we have. So there's $6. I'm going to pay $6 for 8 ounces of something. Well, I want to know how much it's going to cost me if I buy 32 ounces. I don't know how many dollars I would need. So again, I'm going from smaller to larger. So what am I going to do here? Well, if you don't have enough room, let's say I was doing number 5 and I labeled my lesson just like you would, okay? Let's say I'm going to set this up, okay? And I'm going from smaller. You don't have to write the smaller to larger. I'm just doing that for you guys, okay? Well, I know if I'm going from smaller to larger, I'm going to multiply. So what am I going to multiply 8 by to get to 32? 4. Right? What I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. And 6 times 4 is 24. So I am going to pay $24 for 32 ounces. Okay, that would be kind of how you would set it up in your notebook. All right, let's do number 6. So number 6 says, write each rate as a unit rate. I can't talk today. All right, remember, a unit rate has a denominator of 1. So they want to know, I have 28 movies. I saw 28 movies in 7 months. Woo! Okay. So I want to know just how many movies that I saw then in 1 month. So I'm going from small now to large. I just want to know the rate. Okay, I just want to know the rate, the unit rate. So if I'm going from small to large, I'm going to divide. So 7 can only go into 7 times to get 1 month. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. And 28 divided by 7 is 4. So that means I saw 4 movies a month. So there's my unit rate. All right, so the same thing is going to go for here. All right, I want to know. I can make 40 revolutions in 5 seconds. It means I can go around something. Revolutions. So I'm going to see if you can see that. There you go. All right. So I'm going to write it down in my notebook because I love to show my work, and I know you guys do too. That was a joke. You should be laughing, even though I can't hear you. All right. So I just want the rate. So when you know that you want the rate, you guys, you already know that my denominator is going to be 1. When I want the unit rate, when it says find me the unit rate, my denominator is going to be 1. This denominator is 1, and this denominator is going to already be 1. So like half your work is done. If I'm going from small to large, I am going to divide. Well, in order for me to get to 5 to 1, I know I'm going to divide 5. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. And 40 divided by 5 is 8. So that means I make the unit rate. The unit rate, okay, is 8 revolutions per second. That's my unit rate. So remember, unit rate, I'm going to say always has the number 1 as your denominator. Okay, always. All right. So this how-to is amazing. All right. It tells you exactly what to do if you get confused. Okay. This is writing it as an equivalent fraction. This is writing it as a unit rate. When you want the equivalent fraction, you're going to multiply or divide depending, okay? Remember, if you're going from smaller to larger, you're going to multiply. When you are going, okay, when you are figuring out the unit rate, you have to divide, okay, because you're going from larger to smaller. Okay, you're going opposite. I hope that makes sense. So what I want you guys to do is I want you, sorry, I don't know if you can see my low battery, so I better hurry up. I want you to do just page 7, okay? So I want you to do page 7. You don't have to do the, and I will put this on Google Classroom. I want you to do all of page 7. And how I want you guys to submit your work is you can take a picture of it and you can email it to me. So then I can provide feedback if that works for you. And then I'm actually going to probably on Google Classroom, I'll put the answers for you guys from the teacher manual so you guys can check your own work to make sure you did it right, okay? If you have any questions, any questions, or you are having a hard time, I want you to email me and I will Zoom with you, okay? And if several people are having a hard time, I can Zoom with all of you guys, okay? And we'll get it squared away. So we're gonna spend probably the next 2 lessons on equivalent rates and unit rates. All right. So, all right. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.